Well, now time to move on to some serious stuff. Well, I guess you could consider it serious, but as you saw in the title of this video and on the thumbnail, we have an announcement to make regarding our YouTube channel. Nothing crazy, but it is a big change for us, and we're just making some decisions about our content and logistics and stuff. So I will let Jake tell everybody what's going on.
Yeah, so it obviously things have changed a lot as far as COVID goes and quarantine and stuff like that. We're doing this over virtual right now. We have been for a while. And it's been working out great. And we got together maybe 2 weeks ago as a group, not streaming or anything, and we kind of just talked some things out. And we came to the decision that going forward for the time being, we are going to be putting both Padawan Podcast and Nerd Nation on hiatus. They will be basically on pause for the foreseeable future. And so starting the second week of July, so that's the week after July 4th, you will just see Apocaflix Now and the casting table on our YouTube page for the foreseeable future. We aren't saying canceling because we aren't canceling. It is something that these shows we absolutely love. We love getting together and talking, whether it's comic books or Star Wars or a mixture of both. But there's a couple reasons behind this. One is that we know at some point when COVID officially kind of goes away and we get back to our regular schedules of working and just outside lives, it might be difficult for us to keep 4 shows running on a weekly basis, because each show outside of the casting table is a weekly basis, and that's very difficult for us to do with our work life and social life as well. Not to say we don't want to do that, but we're trying to look at what's best for us personally. And the second biggest reason behind that is that we want to put 200% effort into Apocaflix Now. We love this show and what it does for not just us as pundits, but as fans of podcasting, and for you viewers as well. It is our highest rated show, if we're going to say that. It's the show we kind of get together on a weekly basis live on YouTube and kind of just do wacky things together and hang out and talk movies, and that's what we love doing. And it's something that we just kind of thought, you know what, we can do this show and still talk Star Wars and still talk comic books, but all 5 of us together, not separate, and we can do different things with that. And so for the time being, starting the second week of July, you will see no more Padawan Podcast or Nerd Nation on the channel. It will be Apocaflix Now and Casting Table. I will also say we are still working on the details, but more than likely, you will see Apocaflix Now twice a week. You will end up seeing it twice a week. We are still figuring out days. But because we want to make the show the best it can be, and we know that it can be something really, really cool for us and you fans and viewers, we're going to put as much effort as we possibly can into this show and the channel. And we know that for us, Apocaflix Now is the flagship. It is the one that kind of highlights us as a group, as movie fans. It allows us to bring out our different opinions in a really fun fashion. And that's why we want to make sure that it's the highlight without a doubt over everything else. And like I said, it allows us to talk Nerd Nation topics on the show. It allows us to talk Star Wars stuff on the show, but together, because right now, Jacob and I, we can't talk comic books with Gio or Keith because we're not part of the Nerd Nation panel. We're just substitutes if someone can't make that. And this allows us to talk that all together, and being twice a week allows us to kind of capitalize on the urgency of talking these things and have a lot of fun doing it. So that is the big news, guys. We're changing massively, and it's a big change because we had put Nerd Nation on hiatus before, coming from Comic Hero Talk to Nerd Nation. But for the last 3 or 4 years, we have never stopped Padawan Podcast. It's been part of our routine for a long time. And so for us, this is a really big change. And it does hurt us. Obviously, these are things we want to talk about. But we know that for us and for you viewers, for what's going to benefit us and make us more comfortable on doing this and being able to with our schedules in the future, it is strictly focusing on Apocaflix Now and Casting Table as well. I will not go without mentioning that because that show is very unique and different. But the big change comes from moving Padawan Podcast and Nerd Nation out and bringing another episode of Apocaflix Now each week, starting the second week of July.
Yes, well said. And we're talking about doing Casting Table monthly instead.
We're still deciding. We're still deciding on that one. Yeah.
That was casting table was something we did not want to stop doing because we talked about this. There's hundreds of comic book movie related shows out there. There's hundreds of Star Wars shows out there. There's probably no shows where YouTubers regularly do fan casting. So that's a show that we really wanted to keep around. So we do. And thank you, Rachel, for that. We appreciate that. I was actually thinking about you the most when we decided to make these changes because I know you're one of our regular viewers, and I was wondering if you watched those other shows too. And it does suck, but like you said, Jake, we kind of avoided talking about major comic book movie or Star Wars topics because we have Nerd Nation and Padawan. So if we can just put all of our eggs into this one basket that's Apocaflix Now, I think it'll benefit us long term. And like you said, we will most likely bring back those shows when it's the right time.
Fair.
Ryan, Keith, we want to make this an open conversation for a little bit. Thoughts?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't know what else. I mean, you basically said it all. So, I mean.
And where's Keith at? I think you meant Gio.
He's going to jump in here as much as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
So he'll be here soon. Yay!
Good
comment. That makes sense.
Gio, you got any thoughts on this?
Well, think about it this way, guys. We're pulling a Lucasfilm, okay? We're going to stop doing all these things, one movie a year, all type of stuff, and we're going to put our eggs where it works, okay? This is like the Mandalorian of our channel. So,
well said.
Awesome.
I will say short and sweet. Short and sweet.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Yeah.
And once Keith jumps on, we'll cut away from our main topic discussion and make sure he's able to say his piece as well.
Yeah, for sure. And I just want to say, like, we're still discussing the details, but I think Jake and I talked about it a couple days ago, and I think the plan that we have for if there is 2 shows a week and what they're going to be, like, it's not good. We're going to do some cool things with Apocaflix now that we can just focus on this show. So stay tuned, and I hope everybody's as excited as we are.
Yeah, there's a couple ideas that we had talked about. We can take the time and do a little bit here. We had talked about doing Tuesdays and Fridays, separating them a little bit. That's still, again, in the works. We have a few weeks to kind of officially finalize that. But one of the shows each week will be very similar to what the show is now. Wacky topics, rankings, watch-alongs, fantasy drafts, that type of stuff. But one of the shows will be much more movie-centered when the news starts coming back to us as far as discussing the news or hypothetically thinking or theorizing on that type of stuff. And it allows us to, because we know as a smaller YouTube channel, it's hard for us to get viewership about major news topics because a lot of the major outlets talk about them. But that doesn't mean we still don't want to talk about them. And doing 2 shows twice a week and one in the middle allows us to jump on it a little bit more quickly and have a little bit more fun talking about them. And that being all 5 of us together, not just 3 of us or 2 of us sometimes. And so for us as a channel, it benefits us because we have the most fun together when it's the 5 of us, not just 2 or 3 of us. And so it's something that, although it hurts, it could really, really work out in our favor.
Absolutely, yeah. And we're talking about the Tuesday one being the more formal show, for lack of a better word, talking about news, other like direct movie related stuff. And then Apocaflix Now on Fridays is kind of going to be what we've been doing lately, having fun, watch-alongs, doing trivia, playing games. And we hope that both will be like they're kind of their own thing, but still the same show in a way, which I'm excited about. The more and more I think about it, I like the direction that we're headed in for sure.
Agreed.